As the June inauguration of the 10th Assembly draw closer, senators-elect who are interested in top positions are already making their intentions known. One candidate who is interested in becoming the Senate President is Senator Barrow Jibrin, representing the Kano North Territorial District under the leadership of the APC. I am not alone to discuss this. Joining me is Adamu Garba, the former presidential aspirant of the APC. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much, Mercy.
It's good to have you once again.
The Senate is a place where people invest experience, people invest connection, they invest international relationships, they invest a lot of time, they invest a lot of research, they develop a lot of cases, they pass a lot of bills, they have a lot of interaction with different organs of government. So you take time to build these things. And in most cases, most of the people that joined newly, go there to just learn how to do it for the subsequent 4 years. You find out that they got there without doing anything, simply because they don't have the experience. Because Senate is governed by certain rules and businesses. And these rules and businesses takes time for you to build. So usually the most expensive experience bank in the Senate business is the highest ranking member of that particular house. And so far, among all the aspirants, the highest ranking member, the most competent and the most ready and the most prepared person is Senator Barrow Jibrin. Among all those that have declared their intention to aspire, you have Ojus Okadu, who is the third-time member of the Senate. You have Senator Godwin Akpabio, who is the second-time member of the Senate. But Barrow Jibrin is a fourth-time member. And when you navigate through the committees he held, it's a committee that fundamentally touched almost all the organs of Nigerian government. He was in different committees, land and this and that, but he was the head of Committee on Petroleum Downstream, the chairman, Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstream. He was the chairman, Senate Committee on Debt Fund, and he was also, currently he is the chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriation. Banking from his earlier experience as the chairman, House Committee on Appropriation, when he was in the House of Representatives. So when you look at these things, you try to measure up the competency, try to measure up the ranking, try to look at the bank of experience, try to look at every other thing. I think all the other senators should surrender to the leadership of Senator Barrow Jibrin as the next Senate President of the Federal Republic.
But for national interest and fairness, a lot of persons have said that the Senate President should go to the southeast, or perhaps maybe south-south, because we can have the president from who is a Muslim and the vice who is a Muslim, and now the third person of the country being a Muslim. So how would you react to that?
Yes, to me it's very easy. Why? Because the business of National Assembly politics is completely different from the normal national politics. In the national politics, where you have the president Muslim, the vice president maybe a Muslim in this case, that's a different game, right? It goes somewhat not normal from the usual way of President Christian, Vice President Muslim, or President Muslim, Vice President Christian that we used to have in this country. That's a different thing. That is something that just happened based on happenstance, based on the situational analysis and based on so many political permutations. But when it comes to National Assembly politics, this is also a different ball game. This is an independent organ of government on its own. And notwithstanding the fact that the members in that National Assembly are representative of zones. So if you are going into National Assembly politics, you have to look at zones. And when you are trying to look at these zones, you have to look at who is the most competent. When you are trying to look at the most competent, you drop on Barrow Jibrin. When you are trying to look at the most experienced, you have to look at Barrow Jibrin. When you are trying to look at the highest ranking senator, you still have to look at Barrow Jibrin. Now, let's go back again to even the numbers, because without the numbers, we can't win the election. Barrow Jibrin single-handedly, his zone in Kano, gave us 220,000 votes, nearly double the votes we got in the whole of Southeast. Because in the whole of Southeast, we got only 125,000 votes. That's 1.45% of the election. So you need to look into these things. Now, in terms of performance, in terms of the outcome of the election, in terms of the victory that we recorded, again, Barrow Jibrin. So we should forget about the fact that there is some religious. This religious should not play National Assembly politics. Let me give you why even religious should not play politics. We need experience in the house. Because nearly 70% of the members of the current National Assembly are new members. They have no experience. It's like practically we're going to ground zero and start over again. Because we lost so many experienced members in the last election. So if you lost so many experienced members in the last election, you need a responsible, highly experienced, highly competent, highly organized, well-structured leader to drive this National Assembly. One, to harmoniously work with the incoming government so that there can be less rancor. And number two, to be able to mentor the incoming ones, mainstream them, and organize a round table where they can also be able to understand the rules and business of governance in the 10th National Assembly. That is why Barrow Jibril, I think destiny is falling on him.
Okay, well, you've spoken about competence over time. Now, let's look at for the issue of national unity cannot be swept off. You and I know that. Before you started, you mentioned Ojo Zokalu, who is also a top-ranking senator, like you said.
Yeah.
Now, going by it, don't you think it's not fair and it doesn't promote national unity if you think when we just look at competence, it should be zoned to the north? Because a lot of persons, we know, of course, it caused a lot of tension when we were talking about the Muslim ticket of the All Progressive Congress, though it is in the past now. But if the number third person of the country still happens to be a Muslim, Nigerians will find it very unfair. Don't you think so?
No, I don't think so. I think Nigerians should need to understand that there is democracy. And democracy is a game of numbers. Numbers doesn't lie. You follow them. And people make their choices before we get into election. Choices were made. Some people decided not to vote for APC, and they lost out. People that chose to vote for APC, they won. So those that won should get the benefit of winning. I can't win election and you take my win and give it to somebody. We can't go into a game of football with you, and maybe you score and then you got the trophy, and then they take the trophy and say that in the name of fairness, let's break it into three. Give me my own share too, since I become number 3 or number 5. It doesn't make sense, especially when I fail completely. Because the Saudis completely failed. 1.5%. That's the total amount of what we got from the Saudis.
If you're reacting at it this way, then you're looking at it to be trade by barter.
No, it is supposed to be. That's why there's politics. That's why there are political
but
parties.
But we're in a democratic government. People are left to make their choices.
No, let me give you an example. We have nearly 4 million votes that come out from the zone. But they went somewhere. And that where they went to, it failed. So they failed. So you have to accept their failure. Politics is a game of number, except if we don't want the democracy, we want one-party state. Then we now say that in the spirit of fairness, whether you lose or you win, take this one, take that one, take that one. But we went into democracy. Some people won, some people lost. Those that won deserves the benefit of winning. And most importantly, we are talking about a house that requires competency, capacity to be able to deliver the necessary outcome. The house that will need harmonious, responsible, handshaking relationship with the incoming government so that there can be no delay in public service. Another important thing again, we are trying to look at the possibility of 2027 election.
The former administration has gone, and congratulations, your party's team made it to emerge the winner of the #1 seat, which is the presidency. Now, looking at the tension on ground, what would you advise the president-elect, who is your candidate, to do before May 29 of the handover?
Before May 29, I will advise he do nothing. And I'm very happy he's doing nothing. Why? Because there is a president of the country. The only thing he shall do is where required.
Well, how about the commotions of the court going and everything?
We have lawyers now that are doing their job. The Supreme Court is doing its job. Lawyers are doing their job. Media are doing their job. Let everybody do it. But the best job he will do now is to do nothing until he takes over the power. And as soon as he takes over power, he should consolidate power immediately. That is one of the reasons why we want Senator Barrow Jibril very close. Why? Because Senator Jibril is the only ranking senator in the House that will give him 100% cooperation, without any rancor, without this paraphernalia of office, without creating issues. Because we had history of Senate presidency position in the Saudis where it was very rancorous. You have Adolphus Wabara, you have Evans Ewerem, you have Akadibo, Ken Namani, Pius Anyim. So we don't repeat that kind of experience. As I'm talking to you, there are so many people that don't want to hear anybody from the South is coming for the Senate presidency, and they are mostly from the Southeast. So we don't need that kind of experience. We need an organized, less rancorous, smooth government, smooth takeoff. So that's what I will advise him to do. Consolidate power quickly with the right team.
So before we round up, what do you think your party didn't do so well in the past 8 years? And what would you advise the APC should do better this administration?
Yes, I think the party need a whole lot of reform. It's like the party still operate a structure of the previous way of running party politics. Meanwhile, there's an evolved new pattern in the way party politics should be involved. Young people have to take critical affairs in running the party, because we have seen, because of jettisoning and sidelining the young people, that is one of the reasons why we don't control even social media space again. We are attacked and condemned and given all sorts of names. Why? Because young people don't feel they are stakeholders of the party. So the party need to give opportunity for young, active people to play and be able to challenge and neutralize most of the attacks that we're getting from the young people from the opposition party. That fundamental reform is required. And I think the president needs to take very active action in doing that. I believe the government should run freely without some interruptions. And I also believe parties should be empowered to ensure that they put a challenge to opposition parties that are trying to drag us back.
Okay, for the sake of time, at this point we come to the end of the program. It's beautiful having you on this show, so thank you very much for your audience, and we hope to have you some other time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So at this end, we come to the end of the program. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, and of course on Facebook at Prime Reporters News. Thank you very much. I am Macy Emelite. Enjoy the rest of your day.